When you leave, they smear how to survive the smear campaign. Welcome back. I'm Adeline Atlas, 11 times published author, and this is the Escape series where we dismantle narcissistic family systems and reclaim your sovereign identity. Today's video is titled, When You Leave, They Smear How to Survive the Smear Campaign. And if you're watching this, you've either already walked away or you're about to and you're sensing what's coming next. Let's get clear from the very beginning. Narcissists do not handle loss with grace. They do not process rejection like healthy adults. When you leave their system, when you refuse to play your assigned role, when you no longer feed their control, they do not wish you well. They retaliate. And their retaliation is not always direct. It's insidious. It's covert. It's strategic. It's called a smear campaign. The smear campaign is a narcissist's favorite post-exit weapon. It's their attempt to rewrite history, to cast themselves as the victim, to flip the narrative so convincingly that they come out of your exit looking like the wronged party, the misunderstood one, the concerned parent, the betrayed sibling, the innocent party just trying to keep the family together. Meanwhile, you, the one who finally found the courage to walk away, are painted as ungrateful, unstable, selfish, dramatic, disloyal, mentally ill, or worse. This is not an accident. This is a coordinated psychological maneuver, and its purpose is control. Just because they've lost access to your body doesn't mean they're willing to lose access to your reputation. They want to make sure that even in your absence, you remain discredited, isolated, and misunderstood. That's how they protect their illusion. That's how they maintain power in the court of public opinion. If they can't control how you live, they'll try to control how you're perceived. Smear campaigns come in many forms. Sometimes it's passive whispered gossip, feigned concern, little comments to mutual friends like, I just worry about them, you know? Sometimes it's aggressive open accusations, false stories, distorted half-truths presented as fact. Sometimes it's manipulative telling others they've tried everything to help you, but you're just too angry, or just too unstable, or they've always had problems. What's critical to understand is that these tactics are not random. They're part of a calculated strategy to make your liberation look like dysfunction. One of the most damaging things about smear campaigns is that they target your credibility. The narcissist doesn't just want people to misunderstand you, they want people to doubt your sanity. If they can paint you as unstable, nothing you say will be believed. This is psychological warfare. It's about invalidating your voice before you even speak. That way, if you ever tell the truth, it will sound like revenge. If you ever share your story, it will sound like bitterness. They are discrediting you preemptively. And for many survivors, this is one of the most heartbreaking parts of the exit. Because it's not just about what the narcissist says. It's about who believes them. Sometimes it's your cousins. Sometimes it's your best friend from childhood. Sometimes it's the aunt you thought knew better. And when these people turn not because of anything you did, but because of the story they were sold, it creates a secondary wound, a betrayal on top of the original wound. This is why leaving a narcissistic system is so often a lonely road. Not because you're wrong, but because you're standing in truth in a system that's addicted to illusion. Let's make something else clear. They need others to see you as the problem because your truth threatens their facade. You saw what was wrong. You named it. You refused to play along. That alone makes you dangerous. So the smear campaign becomes a defense mechanism. If they can frame your exit as irrational, your awakening as a breakdown, your boundary as an attack, they never have to face the truth of what they did. And neither does anyone else who's still invested in the system. Here's the brutal irony. The more healed you are, the more threatening you become. Because you're no longer reactive. You're calm, you're clear, you're no longer giving them what they expect. And that confuses them. In fact, your clarity is often what sparks the smear campaign in the first place. Because now, you're not playing defense. You're not apologizing. You're not explaining. You're walking in quiet power, and that makes you unmanageable. So how do you survive the smear campaign? First, you have to understand that your silence is not submission. It's strategy. You do not owe the world your story just because they heard a version of it from someone else. You are not required to defend yourself to people who were never invested in your truth to begin with. Silence, when used wisely, is not weakness, it is restraint. And restraint is power. You have to trust the long game. Time reveals character. Narcissists are experts at first impressions, but over time, the truth seeps through. Eventually, the same people who believed their story about you will start to see cracks in the performance. They'll notice inconsistencies. They'll witness how the narcissist treats others. They'll watch the pattern repeat, and they'll remember you. Because once someone has been smeared, they never forget what it feels like. And when it happens to someone else, your story will suddenly make sense. Second, stay grounded in your truth. Write it down. Document the reality you lived. Save screenshots. Keep voice notes. Not because you need to use them, but because gaslighting is real. The longer the smear campaign goes on, the more surreal it can feel. You start to question your own memory. You wonder if maybe you really were too dramatic. Maybe you did overreact. Don't let the fog win. Ground yourself in the facts. Your truth is not up for debate. It is your compass. Third, Choose your witnesses wisely. Not everyone deserves access to your story. Choose the ones who have shown loyalty, empathy, and discernment. These are the people who matter. Let the others go. The ones who ran with gossip instead of asking you directly were never your allies. Let their distance confirm their role in your life. Don't chase closure from the people who sided with your abuser. Your peace is not dependent on their understanding. Fourth, expect backlash. The smear campaign is often the narcissist's final attempt to regain control. When you don't react, they escalate. When you still don't react, they provoke. When you continue to hold the boundary, they panic. This is not a sign you're doing something wrong. It's a sign you're finally out of reach, and that terrifies them. Narcissists don't grieve loss, they punish it. So don't take the backlash personally. Take it as confirmation that your silence is doing exactly what it was meant to do. Sever the leash. Fifth, never internalize their projections. What they say about you says more about them. The accusations, the character assassination, the distorted stories, all of it is designed to disorient you. Stay steady. Hold the line. You know who you are. And if you're not sure yet, if you're still finding your footing, make discovering that truth your first priority. Because the stronger your self-definition, the less susceptible you are to external distortion. Sixth, recognize that the smear campaign is a trauma response theirs, not yours. It's their way of coping with the loss of control. It's their desperate attempt to make sense of your exit without confronting their own behavior. This doesn't excuse it, but it explains it. Understanding this helps you depersonalize it. You weren't smeared because you were wrong. You were smeared because you became uncontrollable. Seventh, and most importantly, build a life that makes their lies irrelevant. Every step you take into your truth, your power, your peace, weakens the impact of their campaign. Your joy is your protest. Your success is your rebuttal. Your healing is your headline. Let your life speak louder than their gossip ever could. Because in the end, no amount of character assassination can stop a fully awakened soul. And here's the most beautiful part. When you survive the smear campaign, you become bulletproof. Not because it didn't hurt, but because you faced the storm and stayed standing. You didn't defend yourself into exhaustion. You didn't beg people to believe you. You walked forward anyway. That's what real freedom looks like. That's what liberation tastes like. Not everyone will come with you. But the right ones, the real ones, will find you. You will find new family, new mirrors, new community. You'll realize that what they tried to destroy was actually your path to clarity. The smear campaign, for all its viciousness, reveals something sacred. Who is for you and who is not. Who loves you for real and who only loved the version of you that kept them comfortable. This is how you separate the real from the role players. So if you're in the storm right now, if they're talking, lying, spinning, let them. You are not required to clear up every rumor. You are not obligated to fix their perception of you. You are not a public relations campaign. You are a sovereign being reclaiming your life. Let them talk. The people who matter will see clearly in time. The ones who never did, they were never meant to stay. You are not their scapegoat. You are not their villain. You are not their failure. You are free. And your silence? That's not defeat. That's divine strategy. Hi, I'm Adeline Atlas, 11 times published author, and what you just watched is part of my signature program, the Chosen One series inside School of Soul. This series is not just a course, it's a blueprint for those who know they were different from the start. The black sheep, the scapegoat, the truth teller, the cycle breaker. Inside, you'll discover the family roles playbook, the golden child, the scapegoat, the enabler, the lost child, and how to finally step out of the part you were cast in without consent. How the black sheep becomes the goat, turning rejection into radical transformation and leadership. How to break generational curses and rewrite ancestral contracts so the pain stops with you. And how to recognize and escape modern forms of spiritual and technological targeting, from gang stalking to synthetic synchronicity. This isn't just about survival. It's about awakening, about reclaiming your voice, your lineage, and your destiny as one of the chosen ones. Click the link below to access the full series now, because the role ends the moment you decide it does, and the real script begins with you.